Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Solve Network. My name is Shane Borza, and I'll be your host along with my co-founder, Benjamin Goss. As a reminder, this live Zoom call is held on the first and third Thursday of every month, and we'd love to have you join us so that you can interact with our guest expert and get your questions answered one-to-one. And if not, you can always sign up for our mailing list and get an audio copy as well as the show notes. Today, we're super excited to have Shawn Bearman, who is the coach's coach, and she works with people committed to causing radical results, and she kicks mediocrity to the curb. We just had a little discussion before the show started, and she got me really fired up. So without any further ado, I'm going to invite her to take over and lead us into kicking mediocrity to the curb. So Shawn, welcome.
You got all fired up, did you? We like all fired up. We like all fired up. Which is only going to happen until one thing happens, right? It's only going to take one little thing to upset you to poke that balloon and have all the good helium escape, right? You know, it usually only takes one upsetting thing to kind of derail the plan, right? All right, cool. Well, we're here to talk about that. And I was talking with Shane earlier and I said, listen, Shane, this conversation works best in a dialogue format. So that's what we're going to do. But before we get into that piece, I just want to kind of give you guys, I guess, the whole overall picture. I said that what I was going to do tonight is I'm going to teach you how to disappear upset in 5 minutes or less. Now, this comes with a pitfall, okay? Because when you can disappear upset in 5 minutes or less, what are you going to blame for your no results then? Huh? Okay. So it comes with a few pitfalls. Not everybody likes to use this to disappear their upset because, frankly, we all know a few people who like being upset. And frankly, they'll cause a few upsets if nothing's happening and they're bored. They'll go poke a few bears with a few sticks, right? All of us have at least one of these that we sit down to Christmas dinner with, usually, okay? If your family's anything like mine, you might have a few of those at the table, okay? Because I have a really big family, right? But everybody knows at least one of these people. So you want to consider, if you are interested in being able to live life exponentially versus incrementally. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you are here and you want to go here, you can do that step rather than go like the slow snail, an incremental way you're up, okay? So I'm going to create the whole world of what it's like to disappear upset and how we do that, all right? I call this process the reset process. And reset stands for responsible upset, okay? Because did you know that being upset is a natural part of being human, right? You are not going to get through life without getting upset about something. You're not going to get through the day usually without being upset about something. So I was kind of being generous, but most people can't get through, the day without being upset. But staying upset is actually optional. And staying upset is a learned behavior, right? You'll see it in kids. They get upset, they go play. They get upset, they go play. They get upset, they go play. They're not staying upset for 48 hours the way we do, right? For most kids, upset ends when they go to sleep. Their upset points expire. Did you ever notice little kids don't usually wake up with the same upset they went to sleep with? Did you notice this, Shane? Yeah, they get over stuff way quicker, right? But human beings are creatures of habit. And our ability to dramatize our upset is learned and habitual. So we've developed a process for disappearing upset. Like, really great to have, right? And here's the trick. What happens most often is that we take actions from a being of upset, and then we wonder why those actions never turn out. So newsflash, any action, what kind? Any action you take while in an upset will not be in alignment with or a demonstration of your authentic self. Okay, that means they're going to be dangerous to your commitment. Okay, shame, blame, guilt, upset, or anger cannot live in the same space at the same time as 100% responsibility. So reset stands for responsible upset. And we take on a very, very particular definition of responsibility that's really juicy. See, when I say responsibility, I mean the ability to respond. Responsibility, the ability to respond powerfully to every situation that's happening. That's not the common definition that's used in our society today. So let's take on that to have an unlimited access to being powerful, it will take increasing our ability to respond powerfully to everything and anything that happens. The world will not stop handing you opportunities to develop yourself in this area anytime soon. Okay. In fact, for some of you, it's handing you opportunities like literally hand over fist in some cases. Okay. With practice, this process can be used to disappear upsets quickly so that you can take action that will move things forward. Actions taken during upset are detrimental to the situation. Responsibility and upset cannot live in the same space at the same time. So when you become responsible for various factors leading to that upset, like in hindsight, now looking back, the upset diminishes until it disappears altogether. And when you get good at this, you can do it in 5 minutes or less. Now, the process is most effective when it's done with a partner, like out loud, okay? It's second most effective when done out loud and in a mirror, right? You should see me. I've done it in parking lot mirrors. I've done it in airport mirrors. I've done it in some pretty strange places, okay? And really what we're doing is looking deeply into the concept. You know, we delve right into this concept, and I give people a lot more in a program called Reclaim Your Power. I actually originally developed the first part of this as a way of giving people the ability to just get back in action right away. Action, action, action. Because as coaches, we know the only thing that ever causes a result is an action, right? You can't think things into existence and then expect that they're going to happen automatically. Okay. Although it sounds really good, right? It's just not related to reality, people, because I'm not Samantha from Bewitched. I can't just twinkle my little nose and make things happen. Although I am highly intentional. And when I say stuff, I've now developed my word to be so powerful that when I say it, it usually happens, and it happens quickly. Now, what does that mean? It means I have to be responsible for all the words that come out of my mouth. Because as my mother says, my mom's Wiccan, by the way, right? Which means she's Wiccan as her religion, right? Which is not me, because obviously I'm wearing a cross, but you know, she says some pretty interesting things sometimes. And one of the things she says is, watch what comes out of your mouth, Shawn. Because what comes out of your mouth is going to happen, and it's not going to turn out well for you unless you're careful. Okay. So upset. Life's going to have upsets. We might as well learn how to deal with them and disappear them as quickly as possible. Now, here's the really good news. You can do this process with anybody around you who's upset. In fact, I highly recommend that. I highly recommend you train the people around you that if they're going to bring upset to your space, the first thing that's happening is that you're doing this exercise together. Now, just out of curiosity for Shane and Latasha, who are on here with me, you know, what do you think that causes when you train people that way?
Go ahead, Latasha. We unmuted at the same time.
What do you think?
Discomfort. They're outside of their comfort zone, so they're a little bit like, woo.
Yeah, they'll get a little antsy, right? They'll start looking like they have ants in their pants. Yeah, very good. What else? Because I'm going to take the blur off my screen because I just noticed it's like this particular top is not liking it at all. Everybody hold thought while I do that. All righty then. Okay, good. So a little antsy, that's for sure.
I was going to say there's probably going to be some pushback.
There might be some pushback, okay? But if you hold strong and you say, if you're bringing upset to my space, the first thing we're doing is the disappearing upset exercise, right? If you hold strong, they'll stop bringing you their upsets. Oh, why? Because their identity knows they're going to have to do a bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't rush to work. Did you ever notice? Most people don't rush to work.
No.
Okay. But sometimes some people will start to see that doing the exercise works. And then they'll come to you a little bit more until they get really good at the process. And then they'll start doing it with others. And that's the overall goal,
Beauty.
right? Because upset's not required to stick around, right? It will be there eventually, occasionally, but it's not required to stay there, right? All right, cool. Well, again, we said this exercise works best when we actually deal with an upset. So do either one of you have anything that you've been upset about, or anybody in your life that's been upset about something where it's been impacting you?
Oh my goodness.
All right, Letitia.
Oh
lay
my
it on me.
goodness. My husband and I, we've been bickering this week because he keeps giving me homework assignments.
Wow. So so he keeps saying you should do X, Y, and Z. So don't you love it when they give you coaching unsolicited?
Yeah, like and he is a coach. He's a fitness coach, and so he knows a lot. But it's like this last 2 weeks, he's been like, "Well, I'm gonna plan so and so. What are you doing on this day?" And I'm like, "I'm running a business."
All right, cool. So
Giving me stuff
he's
to do.
telling you things to do, and it's annoying you and upsetting you. All right, good. Awesome. Let's work with it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, the first thing that we need to do is determine how upset you actually are. Because how are we going to know if we improve it unless we know where we're starting from?
Yep.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, okay, where 10 is like, I'm so upset I can't even eat my favorite food. What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Pizza. I'm so upset I can't even eat pizza. Like, holy crap. That's how upset I am, right? To 1, whereas what is this word upset of which you speak? I've never even heard this word before. Where do you put yourself on the scale?
Yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was a 10.
Wow. And where are you at now?
Now I'm like 0 because I'm like, whatever. We talked it out. He's
Okay,
like,
good. Can you pretend to be a 10?
oh yeah, I can get back.
I think we can put yourself back there, can't we? There you are, you're sitting there, and it's like, what do you got your finger up your butt? What does he think? That you've got nothing to do except sit there and wait for him to tell you stuff? What the heck? What is he thinking? Right? And not only that, but then there's on top of whatever else you're going to do in the house, right? Like that's not even including what you're going to do once you're finished working for the day.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, if you're female, sometimes the work button never shuts off. It's like never goes to pause, right? Unless you're in Cancun or something. It's like not paused, right? Okay, good. So let's pretend you're a 10 for a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right, good. So I'm going to walk you through a series of questions. And then I'm going to walk you through how to get responsible for what we discover out of that series of questions, okay?
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah, cool. So the first question is looking back in hindsight, what was something you did regarding that situation that you could have not done?
Ooh. Let it go too long. Let it fester.
Yeah, you let it fester, and you totally could have not done that, right?
Yeah,
Now, can you be 100% responsible for that?
absolutely.
Good. Repeat after me. I'm 100% responsible
I am 100% responsible
for the fact that I let that thing fester,
for the fact that I let that thing fester.
and I could have not done that.
I could have not done that.
Really great. Okay, cool. And what was something you said either to your inner roommate, who we apparently talk to like hourly, right? Or out loud that you could have not said?
I guess in my head, and I didn't say this to him, but I was like, oh, he's such a jerk.
Yeah, you said that, didn't you? And you can be responsible for the fact that you said that in your head, right?
Yes.
Right. Repeat after me. I am 100% responsible
I'm 100% responsible
for the fact that I said, what a jerk.
for the fact that I said, what a jerk.
And I could have not said that.
Other bad words too.
And I could have not said that.
I could have not said that.
Good. Now we're going to look to the flip side. Okay. So in hindsight, what was something you did not do that you could have done?
Ooh, I don't know that one. You got me.
What is something that you did not do now looking back that you probably could have done?
Maybe when I first got a little irritated or annoyed, I could have said something at that point.
Yes, very good. So you didn't say anything the first time you felt that little niggling irritation, and you totally could have, right?
Yeah.
You can be responsible for that, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. So repeat after me. I'm 100% responsible.
I'm 100% responsible
for the fact that I did not say something when I felt that irritation. And I could have.
For the fact that I did not say anything when I felt that irritation, and I could have.
Yeah, very good. And what was something that you did not say either to yourself or him? What were the actual words you did not say that you could have said?
I could have said, you know what, I'm busy from this time to this time, but I will try to get to it after 5 or whatever, or whenever it was convenient for me.
Yeah, very good. You could have said that, right? Awesome.
Absolutely.
Repeat after me. I'm 100% responsible
I'm 100% responsible
for the fact that I could have said,
for the fact that I could have said,
I'm still working from this time to this time, and I'll add it to my list after that time to get accomplished. And I didn't say that.
I'm working from this time to this time, and I'll add it to my to-do list after I'm done working.
And I did not say that.
And I did not say that until it was way too late.
So then the next thing that we do is we take back a look at the scale again, and we see where you're at on the scale. And chances are you will have come down several notches. Now, if you're not at a 0 or a 1, it's not a problem. You're just going to do the whole round of questions again. Why? Because there's still something out there niggling for you that you haven't declared responsibility for yet. By the way, we've so done a number on this world called responsibility that we actually think we can have other people be responsible. There's some of us who actually think that. You know that's not true, right? That you can't make somebody else responsible for anything, right? You guys know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, we are accountable for things, but nobody can make us responsible except ourselves.
True.
We're only responsible if we declare it.
Yeah.
We're not automatically responsible. Nobody is. Now, if we live in Canada, we're responsible for following the laws of Canada. We're accountable for that because that's where we live, right? If we're over 18, we're accountable for certain stuff. If we have a child under 18, we're accountable for feeding, clothing, and sheltering that child by law, right? Because we live in certain places. But it just depends on where you live because the laws are different everywhere. So you can only be responsible if you say you're responsible. No one else can tell you that you're responsible.
That's powerful.
Okay. I take responsibility for everything that shows up around me. Why? Because it's a power surge. It's a rocket booster. People say, how did you get so powerful, Shawn? It's like, because I've learned how to be responsible for everything in front of me. If there's an accident that just occurred in front of me, I know a way to be responsible for that. Okay. Rather than be pissed that I'm going to be delayed because there's an accident right in front of me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, if I had left the house 5 minutes earlier, if I had taken that other route, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Look at that. That was stupid. Don't do that next time.
That's true.
So this process is so powerful because when I first developed it, by the way, I developed it to use with my young niece at the time because she was being bullied in school. She's very tiny for her age. And she's like this, she was in grade 1, she was like the size of a little doll. She's so tiny, right? So in grade 2, someone was really bullying her and they were using her like their size against her. And she came home really upset about it. And I walked her through this exercise and got her 100% responsible for what happened. Right. And she just had tons of power. In 5 minutes, she had tons of power. Mom was like, what happened? She's been crying for the last 3 hours. What did you do? Right? And I said, I gave her some power. And the only way to give anybody power is to give them a way of being responsible for whatever it is that's occurring in front of them.
That's beautiful.
The power button. Really easy peasy pudding and pie. I try not to complicate my stuff. Now, I actually train and develop people in that process in my Reclaim Your Power program, which I do every couple of months. And I'm training, there's about 8 trainers that lead Reclaim Your Power all over the world, which is awesome. And Reclaim Your Power is a workshop that teaches people a 3-step process on what to do when they're disempowered. Because being upset and being disempowered are very different.
Yeah.
We all know people that have lived their entire lives in a state of disempowerment, but they lived 88 years disempowered, but they lived 88 years, right? People in a state of upset wouldn't live that long. You get that? We know what happens to those people, don't we? The numbers are staggering of the amount of people that make permanent solutions for temporary problems. Staggering, and all because they're upset. This could literally free them up. Yeah, people still need medication. I'm not talking about people. Okay. I'm not talking about the people whose brain chemistry doesn't work. I'm talking about the people who are in a state of upset and stay in a state of upset because they've always been there and they've been raised in a state of upset around upset people. And it's now such a bad habit that they can't think of a way to get around it. Those are the people I'm talking about. They don't have to suffer anymore. No one has to suffer. All right, I'm ready for your questions now. I gave you the goose, gave you the golden egg.
I love that you just came in like a force of nature and just like grabbed the show by the horns and hit us with that. It's simple, but it's so deep. I feel like I need some time to process it, even though everything you said was like, right, like that resonates, that makes sense, you know, like I get it. It's not like I need you to explain it. I don't understand. Yeah, I get it, but it's so impactful. So so I'd say the first thing I wanted to ask you about that is, because you mentioned you developed it for, I believe you said your niece, is what was that process like? Did you need to refine it or figure it out, or did it just all come to you like in the moment?
In actual fact, the wording was almost exactly the same as it is now, only tweaked the wording slightly. And I'm really glad you mentioned that, because here's the thing, people, if you use a different wording, it just won't be as effective. I've used about 15 different ways of wording this. And the way it is now is the way that I've discovered it to be most impactful. And sometimes the way the questions are worded is slightly discombobulating or slightly jarring for people. Okay, but that's okay. You just got to roll with it and practice a little bit. Eventually that jarring feeling goes away. Okay. And I told Shane that I would send everybody a link to Shane where they could click on that link, and then I'll make sure that anybody who wants a copy of the process gets one. And it's a PDF, and you can just use it with anyone who happens to walk into your sphere that's upset. All right. Don't tolerate people staying upset anymore, because now, for all of those of you that are listening, it's now an integrity issue for you. If you stay upset deliberately, or you allow people around you to stay upset deliberately, you're doing it deliberately because you have a way out. Too bad, so sad for you. I just made a heck of an integrity issue for you. Oh, well.
You mentioned the story of the guy that stood up at the event, and I'm curious if you're delivering this mostly in like speaking engagements to large crowds, or is this something you teach in a class, or do you do this one-on-one? How are you normally kind of interacting with people when you're teaching this to them?
Yeah, well, the reset process is part of a program called Reclaim Your Power. Okay, it's about an 8-hour program that I do. It's usually over a weekend, or sometimes it's over, I'm going to do a retreat. Here's what I'm doing. I'm literally going to lead Reclaim Your Power along with 6 other really powerful programs in the Dominican Republic in June. So I'll send you that information and people can come down. I do a program called True Velocity where they spend time with me working on their business. Because you and I both know people work in their business and deal with their clients. They keep their promises to their clients, but they never keep their promises to themselves, right? For causing stuff. And so this is really an opportunity for people to come down either for a week or 2 weeks, and then they do the work on their business. There's videographers there that will help them if they want to do a course. They can actually do the whole video down there in the Dominican Republic. It's beautiful, by the way. You do your whole course in front of like palm trees. It's awesome, right? You know, or whatever it is that they have, and everybody leaves with a 10-second spot and a 30-second video spot for the stuff that they're up to in the world, right? But there's some really great stuff happening down there. And then I'm leading rooms for myself and our other trainers that do this process. We're leading rooms a couple times a week on Clubhouse. Okay, so if you follow me on Clubhouse, it's just Shawn Bearman on Clubhouse. I do this room a couple times. And then every Thursday afternoon, Pacific time, 3 p.m. Pacific time to 3:30, I do this on a webinar, and people can just drop in and I'll do the process with them, or one of my trainers will do it with them every week. Yeah, we just want to give this process away to as many people as possible. Okay, upset is not required to stick around, right? It's optional. I'm always up to something fun. One day I'll tell you all about my kindness caravan that's going to happen after the pandemic's over. I'm taking a caravan of RVs down the East Coast and down the West Coast, away from Canada all the way to the end of the US and all the way back, and we're making a difference the whole way. It's going to be awesome. Teams of people taken, each RV has a team of 4 to 6 people in the RV. Every once in a while, they're going to get a phone call and be told to pull over, and then they're going to have a contest to do. So for example, they're going to have to write a song that makes a difference in the next 4 hours, in the next 20 miles. So everybody's got to work together to cause something. It's going to be a riot. We're going to have a great time. I'll come back and talk about that one day.
Yeah, that's a great preview. It's very intriguing. I mean, between that, the Clubhouse offer and the giveaway and everything, I think there's to be a lot of people interacting with you once we kind of blast this out. So that just leads me to, that's all things that are coming up. You mentioned that you normally have your kind of a weekend thing, but what else are you either currently doing or have done previously that maybe you want to put a spotlight on so people can be aware of?
Yeah, great. Well, one of the things that I do is, because I'm the coach's coach, right? About 75% of my clients are coaches themselves. So I run something called the Ultimate Coaches Mastermind, which is just a tribe. It's not a mastermind the way that some of us think of a mastermind in the world, right? Like masterminds out in the world can sometimes be pricey ways for people to get together and cause something. Okay. So it's not that kind of mastermind. What it is a tribe of coaches that have come together under a certain set of intentions. But mostly what we're out to do is ensure that every single person that comes in front of us gets the coaching they need. If not from us, then from someone else. But we just stand for every single person getting what they need, right? And I said, if somebody's a homeless man, I'm going to make sure he gets coaching every day until he's caused whatever he wants to cause. Not a problem for me. I know enough coaches in the world to cause that. So I'm always looking for more coaches to join that network with other specialties. Coaches that say, oh, I'd love to work with kids. Oh, I love to work with health and fitness, right? Definitely want to talk to your man, Latasha. Okay. He's definitely going to want to talk to me because I refer to those kind of coaches all the time. Okay. So I love doing that. And mostly what I do, Shane, is people bring me projects that they think are going to fit my why on the planet. And I'm on the planet to ensure that people are in love with people. And so every project, every business I own, of which I own multiple, okay, everything I do fits within that. And if it doesn't fit within that, I just don't do it. If I can't find a way to connect the two of them, I just don't do it. And I highly recommend that for everyone. And if you don't know what that is, go and watch the Simon Sinek Golden Circle 18-minute version every day for a month. By the end of the month, you will know what it is. By the way, I make my clients watch that while they're cooking dinner. They watch that. They listen to it while in their shower. They have a recording that plays in their car every day, 30 minutes for 30 days until we are crystal clear why they are on the planet.
And can you just say the name of it again? I missed it.
That's Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. It's called The Golden Circle, and it's the 18-minute TED Talk. You know what I'm going to do for you, Shane? I'm going to send you the link to my Notion page. My Notion page is called Shawn Bearman's Universe. And it literally lists everything that I'm up to and all the different games I'm playing and my nonprofits. I run multiple vocational leadership academies in Africa. I'm going to be starting another one in the Dominican Republic. And when I travel there, I'm committed that young people are the ones that revitalize their communities, that they don't sit around and wait for adults to figure it out, because clearly that's not working. Yeah. Let's give the kids the power, man. That's my intention. So I do a lot of projects that fulfill on that. Yeah. I'm a nomad.
That's amazing. I didn't realize you had such a scope to everything that you're doing, and I want to dive into more of that, but I've asked a number of questions, so I want to make sure Latasha gets a chance to jump in with anything she may have.
Give me a hard one, Latasha.
What made you get started in coaching, and what's your background? What's your professional background?
When I was in college and university, I actually originally took journalism. That was going to be my original major. And then I realized I didn't have what it took to literally step on enough people to get good in that field. Like, you really do need to be someone who really can't care about the feelings of others for short periods of time, right? So, and all the time I was growing up, I was always somebody who worked with kids, right? So I was a camp counselor and then a youth counselor. And all through college and university, I worked with young people. And eventually I started working with the most behavioral disordered kids you could work with, which were violent male adolescent sex offenders. And I did that for a number of years. And then one time I was injured one too many times on the job. And my doctor said, I'm no longer going to sign medical authorization for you to do this work anymore. You need to get retrained. You're not doing this anymore. Because he said if I'd had one more hit to the head, to the neck, I could be paralyzed, right? Because they had done some damage. So I said, okay. And I got retrained. And I realized I had a ton of coaching skills already and counseling skills, given what I did. And I realized I wanted to transfer those skills. So I started working in the area of employment coaching and finding people their perfect job and their perfect world of what they wanted to do with their life. And that was awesome. And I ended that world working with fisheries workers and, people fishermen who had been out on boats for 40 years and now needed to sell their license. And we discovered this interesting thing. Yeah, they were unemployable. Now, why? Because they had only been talking to fish for 40 years, right? So their communication skills were a little off, right? And they weren't used to having someone tell them what to do, right? Then we worked with forestry workers, same thing. They're only used to talking to trees, right? So what we did is we created small business units, what we called SBUs. So small businesses that they could then go and work in and use as their own business. And that's how we got the entire industry and fish people back to work again, by creating their own businesses. So from there, I started doing business coaching, and I've been doing that for about 20 some odd years now. Yeah. I love the business area because if I can make a difference in their business, right, and they're bringing in more money, it's going to impact every area of life, right? So I just prefer to work in that area because it has the biggest impact on everything else that they do.